most of the time you're getting a job because of the person that you are and not necessarily just because of your talent.
Absolutely.
Because you have to be great to work with. If you are, a jerk, then who cares how good you are?
We're rolling.
Today we have a special guest, Lera Juno.
Yay.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we've been meaning to get you on the podcast, so I'm glad it worked out. And you were able to find this mystery studio
Out in the country here
That's
in
right.
Sarasota.
Yeah. So yeah, we just kind of love to hear a little bit about you. We've worked together a couple of times, and we always love working with you. And
Likewise.
well, thank you. And we've just always really enjoyed your energy on set, and you do a lot of things. There's a lot of different things that you do. So I'd love to just kind of hear your history. How'd you get into filmmaking? What got you into it? And just some of the things that you've gotten the opportunity to do over your career.
It's so long of a history. Just kidding. I've only been in film for about 10 years, maybe 11 years now. But before that, I've been a makeup artist for 20 plus years in the beauty industry exclusively, with sales and retail and training and trade shows. And I did that whole thing, and I learned a lot. And you meet a million different kinds of people that way, and you learn how to do makeup on everyone. So that right there is a very good bonus. And so my husband and I decided we wanted to leave Philadelphia, and we found Florida as an appealing option because the weather.
So you're from Philly?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Go Birds.
Born and raised in Philly? Like that's your hometown?
Just outside Levittown, which is like 20 minutes north of Philadelphia.
Cool.
And my husband is from the Manayunk area, which is a Roxborough area, which is Philadelphia pretty much proper. So
Cool. I didn't know that.
yeah, well, Go Birds, like I have to say it every time. So we decided we wanted to move to Florida, get something different. He works from home, so he could move anywhere, and I was working a retail job, so I could technically get a job anywhere. And we drove around for a weekend around Florida, this Gulf Coast area. We liked this area, and we found a place in North Sarasota, rented for a little while, found a house, and that's how we sort of ended here permanently. And during that time, I was sort of freelancing in some retail stores, just getting to know what the clients are like here. And my makeup mentor, because I was decided that I didn't really want to stick with the retail end of things, my makeup mentor, she told me to volunteer for a film festival. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I volunteer for the Sarasota Film Festival. And so that first year I met someone here, a local filmmaker. His name's Sean Greenspan. Shout out to Sean. He was standing outside with this booth, this crazy booth. He does the biggest things, and he makes a big appearance, and it's a big impression. So I was like, this guy is pretty fun. So we just kind of stayed in touch, and I did like a few commercials with him, and then he had an opportunity to do a short film, and he asked me to do it, and it was, I would say, like my first introduction into real film, because it was like with like pros. People from SNL and Law and Order were doing this, and big actors. And so, it was 2 days, and it was tight. It was so nice. I wish all films were like that.
And you were doing makeup on that film? Cool.
So, and I've really only done makeup. So I ventured out into other things now, but primarily I'm a makeup artist. And so I did that. And then we just built a relationship. And then I got asked during that exact same time to fill in for a makeup artist that was being replaced on a film. And so I did the last 2 weeks of a feature film for that. And so in 1 month, I had 2 films under my belt. And I was like, oh, well, this is pretty much, I think, the job that I want, because this is fun. Every day is new. It's very little commitment. And if you commit, it's just 28 days, 30 days, whatever, and then you're done. And you're like, freedom.
Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of how I started in film. Accidentally, I never tried to be a filmmaker. I never had any direction in life, really. I just got a job at the mall, and makeup was attractive.
Right.
And it worked for me because I'm artsy. So, and college was not for me.
So that was what, 2013-ish?
2013.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. 2012, I moved here as to 2013, and I volunteered at the film festival, and that's when I met Sean. And pretty much from there, been working in production because I never wanted to go back to retail. So I pretty much stayed freelancing retail. And once the pandemic happened, I pretty much stopped retail for me because they were like, you guys don't have jobs. And I was like, cool, I'm good with that. It was time. I was already really phasing it out. I had almost no jobs in retail anymore. It was very few and far between. And so that was the sign to say, this is it, no more.
Yeah.
So I stopped, and it's glorious.
So when you're doing makeup on say a feature film project, are you usually involved in any of the pre-production, or is it kind of like you kind of know what the plan is, you know how many talent, and then you show up just ready to go for whatever's needed?
So in independent film, I'll get the script, and generally no real prep time with any actors. So I talk to the director and the producers about what their vision is. Ideally, that's how it works. Not always. And then I can read a lot into what people put on paper, and then I clarify anything that I'm not sure about. And when I get into the room, with the actors, I talk to them about what they envision for the scene or what their character, because a lot of times with independent film, they haven't done a ton of work. So I want to feel how they're going to feel, because I want to make sure that they feel like who they want to be on camera. So that's pretty much how it goes. I know in bigger movies, they have a lot more time. They do camera tests, and I have never done a camera test once. So
do you just...
I wing it.
Yeah. So do you just have like a kit that you have anything that you might need, or are you purchasing different types of makeup depending on what the talent is going to be on the day? Because I know everyone has different skin tone and things like that. So do you just try to always have the same kit and have everything you need in there, or are you like tailor making it per shoot?
Usually I have one kit, and I know that I can do any single job. Yeah. So as long as I have these items, that's it. I can go walk into any job, and I'm 100% confident. But that really only comes with 20 plus years of experience, because you know how to address any issue that comes up very quickly. Yeah. So, special effects is easy to learn because you already have an idea of how things work and how skin is. And so you can do things on the fly. And when a person wants a quick cut or a bruise, you can do it quickly without, being like, oh, I don't know how to do that. So
yeah, that was actually going to be my next question is, where is the line between makeup and then effects makeup? Is it just like black eyes, stuff like that you can manage, but if it's like an open wound, then it goes to effects makeup? Like, how does that work? Where's the line there?
It really depends on what the director really wants to see on camera specifically. Like, do you want it to be oozing and gory and disgusting, or do you just want the idea of that? So when you want it to be oozing and you want stabbing, and that's going to be a specialty person, or you want active blood spurting,
all that fun stuff.
All that fun stuff. Sorry, I don't love effects. I mean, I don't mind doing bruises and things. I can do all that stuff. But I don't specialize in it because I really dislike looking at it. And you have to look at real images and understand backstories to understand how things progress in wounds, because you have to be able to capture it at any moment in a film, since we don't shoot chronologically. Yeah. So yeah, for me, I don't love it because I don't like looking at it. But, normal cuts, bruises, that's okay. Yeah. But it is a definite line depending. Some people do both really well. But I think just like anything, you're going to excel at one area more than the other.
Right. So. How focused on continuity are you during a regular shoot? Is that something that you're thinking of a lot, or is that more... I would assume for like you were just talking about, for a wound or something, and if someone has a wound early in the film and then it progresses over the 2 hours of the film, continuity would be really important for that. Do you have to focus too much on that, or is it?
Continuity is really everything, because the last thing I ever want is the script supervisor calling me out or calling makeup out for not being right. So I'm obsessed about that. Maybe too much, because I stare at everything, and then I'm stressing as I stare at the monitor about one hair that no one notices except me. But I'm just,
Yeah, but it's really helpful, and it's a testament, because we've worked together and you've come in and saved the day multiple times where none of us are paying attention. You're just like, let me just fix this one thing. And you're like, oh yeah, that was,
Yeah.
That was annoying, actually. I see that I'm really good at pointing out the bad things. So, or the things that are like off-putting. I have a good vision for that. So even just looking at a modern in general, I can like usually find things that aren't my liking, which is great for film, terrible to be married to me.
No, but that's so important though. I mean, that just goes back to like, you know, everyone plays a role on set and everyone's looking at solving a different problem, you know? So having someone who's there with an eye for detail like that, for the smallest things, like you said, like we're not really thinking of that stuff all the time, you know? So it's really important to have someone focused on those things, you know, because it all works together.
Yeah.
So what would you say is like, you know, on any given shoot is the most challenging part of your job as a makeup artist?
Oh, that's such a good question. Honestly, I think that the hardest or most challenging is making sure the person that has to be on camera is ready for the camera and that they're in the right mind frame, because there's a lot of head games that person's going through and all these emotions and heat that's being generated inside them while they're trying to get ready to be on camera, whether it's an actor or just a regular person, honestly. So that is the most challenging, because you have to really figure out what does that person need right now so that they can get out there and be amazing so that we can all go home at the end of the day quickly.
You're in a unique position with talent, you know, because you have them exclusively in a chair for a set amount of time right before they go on set. So a lot of times you might be one of the last people they speak to.
We're usually the first and last people they speak to and see day in and day out. So a lot of people don't understand how important that role is. And I did work on a short recently, and the producer and DP like called out how important that role is. And it was like pretty amazing to feel like honored in that way and seen, you know, by my job, because it is very important. Because when you have a makeup artist or someone in that role that gets the talent worked up in the wrong way, gets them emotional, all of the things, you just have to be the exact right person for them so that they can be just right on camera.
Yeah, because you're really setting the tone.
You have to,
And this goes back, we've talked about this before with the importance of having the right people on your crew, you know, and that just really does, it kind of affects everything, you know, so you want to make sure you have the right people with the right attitudes, because that really is everything on set.
Everything. Most of the time you're getting a job because of the person that you are and not necessarily just because of your talent.
Absolutely.
Because you have to be great to work with. If you are, you know, a jerk, then who cares how good you are?
Right. Yeah.
Unless you're paying me a lot of money.
Yeah. It better be really damn good.
It better be a lot.
Do you have a preference for, you know, because you do commercial work, you do feature films, you're doing documentary work now. Do you have a preference for what genre you're working in, whether it's commercials or feature films or shorts, or, I mean, what's your preference if you have one?
You know, I really just I like to learn about a lot of different things. So I find value in every single part of that. And I know that, Scott, you had talked about long form infomercials in the past. I have experience in those areas. It's very interesting to be you can be in any area of production especially when you're a makeup artist, because almost anything needs makeup. And I like them all, but I like to tell people stories. So I like something based in truth, something that's going to teach someone something, because I'm the kind of person that I don't like consume things to be entertained. I consume things to learn and be educated. So I have a hard time watching these big, you know, superhero movies. They're super entertaining, but I don't find a whole lot of like entertainment in them. I'll sit in the room, my family watches them, I'll just be on the computer and like watch and listen, you know. And I appreciate the value of how beautiful those things can be, but you know, I like telling a real story. I like to get to know people, and I think being a makeup artist, I talk to so many people, so I learn about so many people's life stories through many years. So I feel like I have a good rounding of what people can be like and how everyone needs something different. So
yeah, absolutely.
Even on set, honestly, I think that's also why I really am making a shift into producing and ADing, because I think that my value and the skills that I've learned as a makeup artist will pay off on a whole set, because when you're managing 30 and 40 people, that's a whole new thing. And you have to figure out what each person needs to be their best.
Yeah.
You know, and I like to do that.
Right.
So
were you always like a people person, or did you find that that was a skill that you had to sort of develop as you stepped into this role?
I've always been a people person.
Yeah.
People perceive me as a people person. In my mind, I'm not a people person. I like to not prefer to not people. but honestly, clearly, I do like to people. I do find some value in it. But
I like the verb. Yeah, it's good use.
When I'm home, I really do like to not talk. I'm not really a talker. I enjoy silence.
Yeah.
I don't need to fill the space with words. So
So you consider yourself probably more of an introverted person that needs that to re-energize the batteries.
Pretty much.
You need downtime.
I need lots of downtime. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're, I think, in a room of introverts right here.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yeah,
I felt like I was in a safe place when I met you guys, honestly.
Yeah.
It comes across. I'm like, okay, these are the people.
Yeah. Well, so I guess kind of the opposite of being introverted is assistant directing. So you said that you're starting to get into the world of ADing a little bit. Maybe for, people watching, what does an assistant director do? What are the things on set that they are responsible for, and what kind of skill set does it take to do the job well?
Well, I think there's a lot that goes into so many of the roles in production and especially when you're doing, I only AD'd a few commercials. I have no experience. Please don't look at me like I have any kind of knowledge. I really only have had small crew experience, and a lot of help from those people because they knew I was I'm like learning.
Yeah.
But I mean, you organize the set, really. You keep people on time. You make sure the talent is in the spot where they need to be, which is natural for me because that's part of my job as a makeup artist, to always know when the talent needs to be there, at least. So that, I think, helps in my AD role. I'm naturally good at people. So in an AD role, you have to be good at people.
Yep.
But I think when I decided that I thought I might want to try ADing, is I worked on a film with an AD that really just was magical. You watch someone work and you're just like, whoa, I could do that, I think. Or I want to be able to do that. I want to create that presence.
Yeah.
I want to do what he does. Shout out to Travis Knight. He really blew my mind, honestly. Like it was a whole new perspective for me to see what an AD can really do. Because I'd only done small things, and on commercials, ADs are important, obviously, but on a film, like a feature film, they really pull the thing together.
So what were the things that or the traits that Travis had that you noticed that were really standing out to you?
Kindness. He was so kind to everyone. He really made an effort to be nice and learn everyone's name. I don't know if I'll ever be able to learn everyone's name, but it was magical to watch. But he also could keep the morale of people, because there was times, film is tough. There's a lot of difficult situations and scenarios. But I remember like one moment, it was chaotic. The whole day was a mess. We were trying to get this one scene, and we really had to do it in like 12 minutes. And it was a lot of moving parts. And I just didn't know how to like move forward because I couldn't get into the room. I couldn't do anything. And he came over and he's like, I got you. Don't worry about this. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, we got it. And then literally he orchestrated just this magical scene. Yeah. And I was like, all right, this is it.
This is the guy.
This is the guy.
Awesome.
I feel like I could get that from someone.
Yeah.
I not yet, but I feel like I have potential to be able to be that person for someone.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well, back to what we were talking about, setting the tone on set. I mean, arguably the AD is the person who is setting that tone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the voice you hear the most on set. It's the one who is really rallying the troops and pushing things forward.
Yeah.
So it is really important to have someone who is setting that tone in the right way.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
I'm a diehard for the crew. I really even though I've been in a producer role as well, I have a big team feeling. I really love teams.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing you're in the film industry because it does take a team to make anything
team.
work.
That's
So
the truth.
yeah. So you're producing a little bit now, then you said.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that. I mean, how did you get into the producing side of things?
So I guess I just Sean Greenspan again, thank you. I talked to him because he does a lot of producing and directing, and I talked to him about I wanted to move maybe out of makeup, or at least try something additional to makeup. And so producing is one way to go, ADing obviously also, but he got a job with PBS, WEDU, our local PBS affiliate, and they hired him to make a documentary about Sarasota. And I had told him that anytime he has a job, he needs help with anything, commercial, anything at all, I want to come on because I need to learn. I want to learn more.
Right.
I want to learn more about how films are made, more so than just me showing up and putting makeup on.
Yeah.
And so he asked me to be a part of it from almost the very, very, very beginning. So we produced this documentary, and it was awesome. I did a lot of research. I did a historical research. I mean, and he taught me so much just about like being a producer and what goes into film.
Yeah.
And editing and just color correcting, all of that. So it was truly, I feel very fortunate to have had that opportunity. And honestly, I feel like all of the jobs that I've had have been such amazing learning experiences for me that I'm just excited to take new jobs all the time.
Yeah.
So that, because I know something's going to be exciting from it, usually.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a ton about Sarasota watching that documentary.
Oh, I'm glad you watched it.
Yeah, you guys really
Thank you.
dove into the history.
We tried.
Yeah.
It was so hard. We really wanted it to be an hour and a half, but an hour is really where it was good. But we're doing little things. You'll see parts from that.
Cool. So what was the biggest challenge then as producer on that project for you?
I don't know. Challenge. Every part of it was a challenge. Every single part of it, because all of it was new. So every single thing. The biggest thing I think for me truly was sitting at a desk for 9 hours a day researching that part and organizing files and that part. That was the most challenging. But I mean, I was AD for all of the interviewing. So we had 2 weeks of interviews, multiple locations each day, 3 to 4 locations every single day. So I AD'd for that and did a little makeup. It was, talking heads, so there's not too much that you need to do. But it was awesome. I mean, I learned a lot about Sarasota, and, you see only a few minutes of what these people speak about. But in that time, we interviewed them for an hour and a half, and you learn so much. I feel like we could make a documentary of almost every person sitting there. So
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So from before principal photography on that documentary, when did you come on board? How long before you actually started shooting were you a part of the project?
We shot in December. Am I thinking that right? February? Oh my gosh. Right now my mind is blank. Only like a month before.
Okay.
But it wasn't that much time before because Sean had a lot of projects that he had to finish up before he could start this one.
Yeah.
So I think I could look, but I don't remember what month it was. I feel like it was December. No, it was December. We shot in December, and then February we had our big 1-day scene in Burns Court. That's what it was. Sorry, and then April we knew it was going to be on air April 20th, like on TV. So we knew. Yeah, that was
a quick turnaround.
Yeah. Yes. That's a pretty solid deadline right there.
It's also pretty scary to work on something that is going to be on. It's going to be out there.
Yeah.
So literally until the day before we showed at the Opera House, we were making adjustments.
Yep.
Hours in the office, just nitpicking little things just to make it just that much better,
Yeah. So did Sean already have a list of who he wanted, like the experts he wanted to interview and the people that ended up on camera? Did he already kind of have that list?
He had a good idea, and he pretty much came up with everyone. And then if he didn't have someone, other people suggested who they could interview and who he could interview. And we had great members of our, Sarasota community. So it was cool. I think we tried to cover everybody.
Yeah, I think something that stood out to me in watching it, aside from the history and the documentary as a whole, was I'll pick some really great locations to film those interviews. I was really jealous.
Listen,
I'm like, we got to film there.
Sean was very adamant about making each location really important and really big. We had 3 cameras. So that makes it even more dynamic. And man, I'll tell you, if you ever shoot a documentary, you should always have 3 cameras now. I mean, it really makes it easy for the edit, like there's a lot that makes it interesting. But he knew, and honestly, Sarasota got behind this project heavily.
Yeah, I was going to ask that too. Your partnership with them.
We only had a few places that charged us.
Yeah.
So, we were very fortunate to be able to shoot in Ringling, shoot in the museum. I mean, come on, everything was amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool to see all those locations. So how's the reception been since it's been released?
We've had nothing but good response.
Yeah.
I read, you go on YouTube, I'll read a little bit of the comments if there were any, not many, but I want to see what people say, and everything that I see people say is expected.
Yeah.
So, and I'm fine with criticism. I welcome criticism. I like to hear what other people's thoughts are on things. So I may not agree with it, but I'm cool to listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to lately? What are some projects that you're if anything that you can talk about, anything that you're working on right now?
So currently, the one major thing I can talk about is I'm working on a docu-series. I'm producing a docu-series about women and the stigmatism of in their going into your 50s and what that is like and all the stereotypes that are involved. And we're pretty early in production, but we're supposed to shoot in March. So
Is that here?
I think we're going to shoot in New York right now, but some of us are here. It's based the headquarters, I guess you'd say, are here. But we have a director from LA and another producer from LA. So we have a bunch of people from all over, but the idea started here, I guess, in Sarasota with Trish Appello. Well, shout out Trish.
So what are the kind of dream projects that you have? If you could work on any kind of project in any role of the project, what would that be right now? Are you kind of leaning towards producing or more on the AD side or both?
I truly don't really have goals. I just kind of let things happen the way they should or how they're going to. I would love to do anything that tells a story, whether it's producing or ADing. I just want to do anything. I just want to learn more about other people's stories. And so however I can do that, whether it's makeup or producing, I think I would like to transition perhaps maybe out of makeup a little bit more, just because I would like to learn something new. I feel like, not that I know everything about makeup, but I've kind of done it for a while.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty comfortable. I could walk into any situation and be pretty comfortable with makeup. So, but producing now, I like to keep myself a little bit uncomfortable. ADing is a little bit, because if you're just comfortable, then you're not really growing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we're in Sarasota. It's not exactly, the film hub of the world. What do you see happening in this industry currently? What have you seen maybe even change over the years? Do you feel like it's starting to grow here, or, and I'm sure there's more room for growth.
Yeah, of course.
But what have you seen just over the years with the industry here in Sarasota?
It seems like in Sarasota, there's a growing community of filmmakers. I mean, I'm surprised to turn around and there's another person who's involved in film somehow. So I think that Sarasota as a community is growing with the filmmakers and the film idea in general. And I think that the community is also helping to nurture that. Ringling is really got a great film program, so they put out a lot of really great things. It encourages other creators to come here and work with the school, which also obviously gives other local filmmakers opportunities. But I think we're growing. I feel like in Florida there is a lot of film that isn't ideal, perhaps, of an experience for first timers in film, because they're maybe not run the best way. They're produced a little, and so I am concerned in that way that the growing filmmakers aren't learning from the best people that they could have been learning from. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's also why I feel like if we're going to grow a community, I want to be part of that growth, because I feel like I can give direction, at least. Even if I don't know I know the right things to do and what's wrong to do. And I'm always concerned about safety and those things. So
what are some of the things, talking about, let's call it a healthy set. What are some things that make a healthy set?
Communication all the time. Just tell everybody everything all the time. Keep everybody informed. If something is maybe holding you back, let everybody know, so no one's just sitting here festering ideas about what's going on over in the camera department or things like that. I think that's important. Obviously keep the drama in your department, but otherwise, and I just think the way people are treated is not ideal, and that can ruin a whole film set. I've worked with producers that yell all the time and they're screaming at people, and it just creates a whole sense of urgency that's unnecessary on the set. And then people are running and people are tripping and people are rushing and they're not thinking through things and attaching things properly, and that's how accidents happen. So, I mean, there's no reason to yell at anyone. We're all working professionals. We're all doing a job, and let's just talk to each other. So,
totally.
I mean, that also, I have to say, like, working with you guys, you're all very respectful all the time. And you're not to say you're not having fun, but it's important to see that respect and admiration amongst each other when you're working, because you don't see that a lot of times in a lot of the films that are being made. No one cares. It's just get the film done. No one really cares what you think or, continuity. So, I worked on films that don't even have script supervisors. So,
Well, it's good to hear that. I mean, that's something we take very seriously, And I think that goes into everything. And when we have a project and we're looking at building the crew, I mean, it's like what you said earlier. It's not about what the person knows or how much experience they have necessarily. If they're a shitty person, we don't want to work with them.
Absolutely.
Life is too short. It's just not, so we try just to be careful about even the people that we choose, like yourself, having you on set's great. It really does change things. And the end result, it has an impact on the end result in the end film. So for us, that's really important. I found this Instagram account recently. It's called Production Assistant Stories or Production Assistant Horror Stories or something, but all it is literally is just people write notes, their experience as a PA on these sets. And it's, commercial shoots, feature films, all kinds of sets, typically bigger Hollywood productions, but the horror stories that these poor people, honestly, it really was eye-opening to me, because I'd always heard that, obviously on a film set, there is a hierarchy, as much as that kind of sucks. Like, there technically is. And, PAs unfortunately tend to live on the bottom of that hierarchy. And
even though they're the most important part of the set, honestly.
Absolutely. Like, they're the ones making it happen. But, because of whatever, their pay grade or whatever, whatever reason, it's just really unfortunate to see some of these stories, and so for us, it's like we're just not interested in that at all.
It's abusive.
Yes.
I mean, those stories, actually, I think I follow that Instagram. And it teaches you a lot. And even just like I said, working on that one set with that one particular producer that was just screaming all the time, and that really sticks with you. And I'm a very, very strong person. So I know other people were really affected way more than I was, because I just let it go after, I'm mad at the time, but then I'm just like, whatever, who are you? But I know that hurt people and people quit because of it. So that's pretty amazing.
It's really unfortunate.
It is.
It's too bad to see that. And we're talking like, ADs asking PAs to do things that are completely illegal.
Absolutely.
And like blocking, roads to hospitals and things like really crazy things like that. It's just like it's insane. It's really insane.
It's amazing. And then also people say yes to doing it just for the sake of the job, because they think that's what it's supposed to be part of the job. But that's not part of the job.
Well, I think it goes to show how much people love the world of filmmaking, and they're willing to take a job and to stay. And that's the thing too, is a lot of these people, they stayed in that environment. They're doing all these things and they're being yelled at and making no money and getting no sleep. but they stay in it because, that's how that's how they get into the industry, or at least that's what they think. You have to work your way up, and they love film so much that they're willing to do it. And it's just really sad to see,
And that's what I get worried about here in Florida, is that we have a bunch of young filmmakers and they're maybe not learning from the best of the best. And I don't want those habits perpetuated going forward in this industry that we're trying to build here. Because once those people leave, we're stuck with all of us.
Right.
And I don't want to deal with that. And I'm not going to, actually. I mean, I feel fortunate that I can say no to jobs if they just don't align properly. I feel fortunate that I can say no. I have an Airbnb, so I have other income. I'm married. So, but if I was a single person and experiencing that, I feel like I could imagine staying at those jobs because you still have rent to pay.
Yeah, especially if you're living in LA or New York or something,
gosh.
Expensive city to live in.
Absolutely. So it's tough, but I'm encouraged because there's people like you, obviously, clearly a bunch of you, and we all tend to congregate together. So hopefully we'll just, push out the yucky ones.
For sure. Yeah, no, it is cool to see. And there are a lot of really talented people in the city, and
we're lucky.
Yeah, for sure. And it's been one of the cool things about, getting into this industry really is seeing that, and getting to meet people who are like really talented DPs and, you name it, but, and yourself, it's like, it's really cool to meet people that you just didn't know. You didn't know it was right here in Sarasota.
And it's weird how we don't really know that each other are here.
Yeah.
It's like we all just know one, or, we all connect, but we haven't connected. So hopefully we'll change that at the end of the month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it takes intentionality, right? Yeah. It takes really setting aside the time to, especially as introverts, it's not our go-to, but it does take that to really, reach out and to try to build community. Yeah. Because it kind of, you're right. Like for some reason here in Sarasota, there's like islands of creatives and they're not necessarily linked, Yeah. But we all kind of know of each other and once in a while get to work together. But it does take more than that really to bring people together.
Yeah, to push us together. I also think there's a level of competition, unspoken competition we all have, even if we don't mean it to be, obviously. So there's always that part, and makeup artists are especially competitive with each other. They're so catty.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so weird. I don't know. I've never been into sports. Like I tried sports. I'm not a competitive person. I still really like the team thing. So it's not about me. I really want everyone to succeed. So I just want all the makeup artists to succeed. But that's not really how the outlook is a lot of times. And with every job, it's not just makeup. But
so you don't have like a coup of makeup artists that all get together?
No.
No, you don't have like a little tribe of makeup artists that
there's like a tiny bit, not really, I would say. But also, I'm trying to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to move in a different direction a little bit. So maybe I'm not also nurturing that as much as I could be.
Is there a union for makeup artists in the industry?
There is. It's in Florida. There is not. You just join either New York or LA.
Oh, okay.
So it's for Florida. Currently, it's not. I may try to join the union. I'm not sure if it's of value at this current time in Florida because there's not that many union productions since it's a right to work state and all the weird things that go along with that. But I want to because I want to have that pride of being that great and like that means I'm a part of a whole team of artists that like this is what we do. We're a union together, and that's I like that idea, and I believe in the union. I like the protections that it gives people like us, freelancers and stuff. But again, Florida's just not the state for that at this point, and it's expensive to join the union. And there's just not enough jobs here yet that I feel comfortable going after that yet for now. But I did, learn how to do all the things I need to do to pass my union test when I took my class in New York. So apply a bald cap and all kinds of stuff.
So they make you go through the motions. You got to do all those things.
Yeah.
It's not a written test.
No. You just don't go, hey, I'm here. Look at my Instagram. No, you have to have a portfolio of work before and after and the process and show what you've done. And it's a lot. It's not like, and you have to have enough days worked on a set as a makeup artist exclusively. If you've done hair and makeup, then you only get half-day credits. And
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
It's something to that effect. I know that you need to have just be credited as a makeup artist or a hairstylist.
Right.
And at the union, it is either your makeup or hair. You're not both.
Right.
Although a lot of us do both.
Yeah.
You're either one or the other.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. It's so nuanced.
Yeah.
But the productions assistants, I believe I just saw something about they've now started a union for production assistants.
Really?
Just recently. Yep. It's IATSE, I think local 111 is the number, but I don't remember if it's commercials. I think it's commercial production assistants and people in that realm, production managers.
That sounds like a great idea, though.
Yeah.
If anyone needs a union, it's the production assistants.
It sure is. They're so vulnerable, but they're so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a great job, honestly. I've done a little PAing.
Yeah.
It's great to learn. You learn every part, and you're like, that's what they do over there? That's what they do over there?
And they get to use the walkie-talkies, The walkie-talkies are pretty much meant for them.
If I could just give away my walkie-talkie, I would love it. It's in my ear all the time.
So if someone's watching this and maybe they're thinking about getting into film or commercial or whatever, what's some advice maybe you would give them, even particularly with say makeup? So say there's someone who loves doing makeup and they love films and they want to put those two things together. What's some advice maybe you have for them?
Find a makeup mentor. Find some mentors that really want to be part of the process with you or are really willing, and make sure they're the right people. Look, what is their history? Do they have actual experience doing what you want to do? And do they have a lot of it? Or do they just talk about doing it? So you find the right people. I'm very fortunate that I have excellent mentors, multiples. So I have very good advice, and I belong to a network of makeup artists, and that aren't here in Sarasota, but it is a national network of people that are amazing hair and makeup artists. But find your people and see what they're doing. Volunteer for your local film festival. Just talk to people. Go to film premieres. Go to film festivals. If you just start talking to people, that's really how it starts. That's literally how it started. I was told volunteer. I went and started talking to Sean, and boom, now I work in film. I didn't even know I was trying to work in film. That just happened. It just was part of it.
Found you.
Yeah, it found me, and it's the right one.
And it seems that never really ends either. I mean, that's how you stay active in the industry too. It's you continue meeting people, and a lot of the work that we all get is word of mouth, right? It's one production leads to another, and people talk. If they've had a good experience with you, they'll say good things. If not, they won't. So. I think that doesn't really end, right?
It never
Networking
ends.
Kind of,
It's like a nonstop job, really, especially if, outside of, if you're in any like LA or New York, you're literally working nonstop because you never know who you could run into. At least here you can not talk about the business so much, or you can talk a little bit more loosely, and people they don't understand. They just don't get it. But it's just funny. This industry seems so glamorous, but I'm like, no, we work in non-air conditioning all the time. We're literally sweating all the time. And in makeup, I mean, that is a challenge, but it's fun. I mean, and I hope people are encouraged in makeup to continue to go into film and not let anybody tell them no, because it's fun if it's the job for you. Spend some days on set and you'll know right away if it's for you, because 12 hours is not short.
Right.
It's not. Some people might just want to do commercials, and those are nice, easy jobs, paid high. I'm okay with the nitty gritty and getting sweaty and telling the story for little money. Hopefully big money.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on today.
Yeah,
honestly.
thank you.
It's been really, really great talking to you.
Thanks so much for having me.
It was a lot of fun.
It was. It's so crazy. I can't believe I'm here. And a microphone and headphones. What the heck?
You did great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lera.
Thanks.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.